New details are emerging from the deadly assault in Fells Point over the weekend, specifically concerning the suspect's extensive criminal past. On Monday, 43-year-old Timothy Kleindienst was arrested for the brutal beating caught on camera. In the surveillance video, Kleindienst is seen pushing 74-year-old Dave Philpott to the ground, shoving him into the street, choking him and kicking him repeatedly before fleeing the scene. The victim's wife speaking with Fox 45 News, saying her husband called her immediately after the attack.
Said a guy asked me for money. I told him I didn't have any money, and he asked me for money again. He said, I told him I didn't have any. He has his arm pulling him in and going around him. And at that point, he had a broken hip and a broken wrist.
Philpott was rushed to the hospital where he later died. His wife says the attack aggravated pre-existing conditions. Timothy Kleindienst has been charged with a manslaughter in this case, but Fox 45 News has learned he has a lengthy criminal history. During a bail review hearing this week, a judge revealed he has 20 prior convictions in Florida. These include smuggling contraband into a detention center, disorderly conduct, burglary, and several trespassing cases. And he is the latest example of people cycling in and out of the criminal justice system, including juveniles sometimes. We're asking legal experts what it will take to break this cycle. From the suspect in the latest Fells Point attack, leaving an elderly man dead, to the suspected killer of a Baltimore tech CEO, Pavel Lepere, even young kids, like an 11-year-old who had been picked up for stealing cars and other crimes dozens of times by police. The criminal justice system can serve as a revolving door sometimes.
I think the criminal justice system is really built to deal with individualized problems, not with society as a whole.
Kurt Nachman, a Baltimore area defense attorney, says part of the reason why we see so many people cycling through detention facilities could be connected to a different cycle.
The best solutions to problems are often very long-term. And as we all know, politicians work on 2-year, 4-year, or 6-year type cycles. And so they're not necessarily willing to invest the time, effort, and energy into things that are really going to pay dividends in the long term, such as really giving probation agents some serious tools, beefing up parole and probation in terms of supervision to get people sort of job opportunities and skill sets that could get them off the street.
In Maryland, lawmakers have tried to do just that, making more investments in wraparound services, offering off-ramps to people linked to a life of crime, and for young offenders, work to give them a break. But in 2022 and 2023, lawmakers were faced with a surge in juvenile crime. Young offenders getting picked up by police, not charged, and released. No consequences or accountability due to laws created to help. But after prosecutors, police, and parents pleaded with lawmakers for change, the General Assembly passed legislation in 2024 bringing back more accountability, even for young offenders. Governor Wes Moore signing the plan into law, with full implementation set for November this year.
I think you've seen good progress made on violent crime when you go after sort of bad guys with guns, as I know Ivan Bates likes to say, the bad guys with guns approach. Generally, when you hold those mandatory minimums accountable, you take people off the street for an extended period of time when they're engaged in crimes that involve firearms.
Nachman says making those investments, even for people who are currently locked up, could provide better outcomes. Why do you think it's difficult for some people to get behind that idea, to make those investments in this area?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that there's somebody sitting there going, well, why are we going to pay for a trade school for free for somebody in jail when, I've got to pay for my own way through, getting my CDL or going to carpentry school or electrician school. And I don't disagree with all those things. I mean, certainly as a society, we've got to sort of look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves what we're doing to train young people and what goals we're setting for people. Kind of across the board. I think an overall investment in education and showing people that there are alternative career paths and that there are opportunities for them.
He says the key is finding the balance between helping offenders and ensuring accountability, especially when mandatory minimum laws like proposals that have failed in Annapolis in the past are not on the books. Otherwise, situations like the ones playing out in communities in Baltimore where repeat offenders cycle in and out of prison women committing more crimes will likely continue.
I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. Here's another video to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.